now. It,
I think they can talk. I remember Joyce was talking back to us last meeting.
do you have to have somebody sitting there to,
I think I just leave it unmuted.
oh, okay. Okay, good. Got your email. I made myself a read about which, goes, go where from who.
This is the check to Sandy Land. Maybe we can give it to her check tonight if you want to.
Sure.
For the pots and everything.
Yeah,
That's all we pay her around July next year.
so we only ended up getting one quote from, Henry, and that was for the parking lot, right? We didn't,
Yeah, we could not quote, um, the, uh, the elevator towers.
okay,
And, we cannot quote you.
okay. No, contractors had some, good quotes, so they were low.
Yes.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff.
That's control tomorrow, gonna be next, Monday.
Okay,
We can do it Thursday, Thanksgiving. You can't do Wednesday. It will be Friday.
working so hard this afternoon.
What's the rule?
No, they won't.
They're cat lines, so you can see them. So they're nice and heavy enough. I think that's, you think talking about what lighting things get there?
Yeah,
Sounds good.
yes, it sounds very good.
Well, it's cheaper than. 10 million.
Mhm. Yeah, that was ridiculous.
Monday, next week, and we can do it. So that's my- Tuesday. I did play around with it. It's, hey, sweetie, you're all right. I think so. If not, I'll just go home early. Ran both away.
What was listener?
How's your meeting? How's it going? I didn't know it all.
Me too, oration.
All right. No, we're good. Now some super party good. Okay. Good sounds fine to me. All right. All right. You know, I think you're for sure. I think you're for sure. Is there any stuff for sure? Diabetes? Yes, I am diabetic. Unfortunately, oh, well, it doesn't, that's sweet, doesn't affect me. Now I get it. I'm sorry. I've been thinking, I've been in numbers all day. Okay. That is funny. That is funny. Yeah, I can't get too much sugar. Well, how dare. Don't print them.
The sign-in sheet,
Sure.
please.
This is actually really not a notice,
Um,
but yeah,
but it's on the agenda.
no, it's not on the list.
That's right. Something already.
Maybe a little bit of a-
Yeah, there's talk about it. We can't really do anything about it yet.
Yeah, I wrote a proposal for it.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the thing that's kind of frustrating to me is that we can't. Once it goes into effect, it does not affect people that already live here.
Yeah.
They're grandfathered in or something?
Yeah.
Thank you.
We can say that, but they don't want to abide by it, they don't have to.
The big packet.
This is a big fucking. You're right, but it's directly, I mean. You know, if if we were to have a 25, 26%. And, you just don't have people on the right, you just go to it.
Yeah,
You don't get it. You don't get it.
yeah.
You're frustrated, but it's what it is.
Hey, you really want to design these chairs?
No.
Because we were giving away jerseys.
Oh, that'll do it.
Oh,
Yeah, I kind of have a feeling that as the condo sales market gets worse and worse and worse, the condo rental market is going to improve. The demand for condo rentals is going to improve.
it's very cool. But this is kind of down where you come from.
So how's the grandbaby?
He's coming here next month here. All the kids are coming in next Tuesday.
Awesome.
So then I'm going to. He's coming here.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
No, I didn't work in that before.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think that.
So do you like having room on your balcony now?
I gotta rearrange a little bit more, but yeah.
Plans to add it up because every time you go out, that's the one thing you have to stop and look at.
Well, I would just keep on. Well, I'm glad. This is a good.
Who knows what happens out there when the lights are out?
I have something about in the hospital. I had to stay all the time. How many kids do? How many kids do?
What's the deal? We get it too. Yeah. What age? Okay. What age? What age? Oh, I. Arrangements I do. They just. Very. Yes. You find out.
What's the point then?
Well, you know, the point is, what's the level of once you're saying, you want to decide why you want. Or you see that you want to.
I guess there's not enough of it.
How you doing? I can see your cat. I never got that. I'm not sorry. I can get that version. I can get that. I can get it. That means a lot. When you over there to be off the Zoom camera? No, I can't.
If you see anything wrong right there, you're welcome to adjust.
No,
That's all right, you can do.
no, on the Zoom hall.
That is too interesting. All right. Yeah. You just
No, you guys are in.
No, I haven't. Oh, actually, I forgot to show that to Tammy. I forgot to show it to her. What happened to me? No, I forgot. We were in when we were staying at some of the oh, no, she didn't forgot to show it. They show it to Tammy. She received.
Well, if you don't have a day, the emails and messages accumulate so fast, you never find anything.
Yeah, Tammy did. Here on there now, or?
No, I'll tell you in a second.
Yeah. Joanne nominated you for the chief, Zoom meeting person.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, we did it. Wait, is that Tony? Oh, he's coming down. Is that her?
All right.
One participant. You need a mouse.
I bet. Good to know them.
One participant.
Did you say all over?
Everything.
6:02. Okay. Have any new owners present?
I'm sitting in front of the camera.
I don't know, I just get, well. Are you showing everybody your bold stuff? So you know, this is like, you didn't last long. Come on, let me get in here.
Right there. Right, so we have a quorum of officers, that's certified. And, yes, the previous meeting. And it's also, just to read the minutes of the last meeting. Anybody wanna make a motion?
Motion to accept the previous meeting.
Second.
All in favor? Okay.
Okay, so everyone, so who made one thing before? Wayne. I second.
Approved unanimously.
You all said aye?
Yeah.
Yes. The minutes are a little different, and as you may notice, there's actually, and put that all together. We changed a few things. For some reason, anything we talked about, the board said, no matter if the board said it or not, but we fixed those. And, yeah, Joanne picked up on that. So things can say Mark and the board, whoever. Uh, But it breaks it down into different categories, and summary page and that. Yeah. I can turn that out in minutes in a day versus 2 or 3 days of trying to look at it. If not, I'll come back to you all day.
Now, it is a rule in 718 that the minutes are supposed to be in 30 days, and I think I only did minutes once or maybe twice. It's very time consuming when you have to type it all out from your notes or even, listening to the meeting. So I think it's a good thing. We can, get it out and, Mark can have it posted, within the first week, and that way everybody gets a chance to read that.
A quick recommendation with regards to the minutes. The minute, you're gonna have to do different voices. There's a lot of supposed to drop out if you don't like talk loud enough for the camera here, okay? Just so you know.
We have a vision statement. Our vision is to cultivate an environment where every homeowner feels a sense of pride in their residence, fostering a neighborhood where people know each other, support one another, and participate in community. To provide management and directors that ensure our residents have questions and concerns acted upon in a timely manner, and managing upkeep and safety issues that increase property values, with every member working together for the good of the entire community. So thank you for that, Rick. And one thing I did want to mention real quick, that's not the agenda. I got a phone call on Monday from a reporter from Channel 13 Orlando. And so he is coming out tomorrow morning. He wants to talk about, where we started from and what we wanted changed and what is or isn't changed. And I would like, he's supposed to be here about 10:45 tomorrow morning. I would like everybody who has any interest to show up. So we can be, so we can have solidarity. He can know that we're serious. I don't know how many of you saw what they've done with the paint out there. I guess they just did that today. Oh, did they? No.
Yes, good. And,
In the left turn.
right turn. Right turn. We're waiting, but there wasn't one there before. Yeah, but still up above at, the next, one quick right up. They are.
And then Steve they took all that curving out of Steve's diner and put him in. Terminal.
They have markers. Markers in the restaurant here, so.
Are they gonna put palm trees back?
Tammy and I were discussing that, we should call them up, they were our palm trees, they ripped them out. We're gonna have palm trees back and give us a bonus and put spotlights on them.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a big difference when you drive down there, it's not just about the stuff. It does add.
Yes, I mean, they took our palm trees, yes. we should telephone them.
In that middle.
Well, be out there tomorrow morning at 10:45.
Actually, that's what it's about what's going on out here. As well as, because we have the beach access we would like, that's the handicap beach access, that's the handicap ramp there.
And we can't get to it.
So if we can have a minimum beach access to, with the sign, with the flashing lights to get across, minimum, a U-turn would be better, but.
The ambulance is coming from the gridlock, north. Have to have all the way down to the light that follows, turn around, and if there's people in the left-hand lane, it's just the way the ambulance, whereas the usually you would make a turn right in front of our building here. And that could conceivably, result in people dying, just need to be repaired. It's the difference in 2 to 5 minutes, that it's not.
So, yeah, we should have, we should have our thought together tomorrow before they show up. Talk about some of these points.
Okay. Right in front, he's gonna meet. Yeah. Awesome, everybody show up. All right, John, beautification committee.
Beautification committee is going well. I think anybody took notice, we have new planters out here. And Lynn was so gracious to donate all the flowers in the flower pots. What do you do?
Yeah, I don't know even what kind of car they are.
They're beautiful, and thank you for donating them. Yes. And I'd like to thank Lynn and Dave. They helped plant everything, and Mara for helping us out in the morning. Did a lot of work. And as far as the lighting that's going on out here, we do talk about this a lot.
Yeah, just so everybody knows what happened with our.
Okay, we got an estimate from that the lighting demonstration we had out there. And it's the estimate is $10,768 for all the lighting. So the beautification committee, well, Tammy. So why don't we just try our own lighting, the wraps out here on the trees? So we did that.
Just really.
Pedestrian gate, and the staff pedestrian gate, the trees there, do the same thing, and have some spotlights on them, like Lowe's, that's what we have here. And altogether, it would be like $229, something like that.
Do we have electricity? Do you have light from there? And what about the walkways?
The pool stuff, we would have to still get estimates, like we could still go to this company.
Which is beautiful. My other concern is that, first of all, I remember correctly, when the whole bunch of power line in the first place, it was $8,000 to fix it. And years ago, so it was like crazy. It was $8,000 back then. But, so I know the lights are gorgeous. We spoke about the whole problem about, people light out there legally and, purposes and all that sort of stuff.
We're thinking of going back to the company and just give us an estimate for the pool work, the lights around the pool, make the proper locks legally around the pool. And then we'll have an estimate from her, and then we're gonna go with more estimates and see what we get just for the pool work. And then we won't need the spotlights elsewhere, so that'll cut down on the cost. So our plan is we were thinking $230 basically.
A lot of work doing it.
Tammy has suffered an injury. She got 5 mosquito bites.
I mean, to go against that price versus what it would cost, so I said, let's just do it, and then we just did it, and then everybody liked it, so that's why we wanted to wait to see what everybody else thought, that's just what we thought. And we got a lot of good feedback on it, and so we did it further, and that, and like I said, it was. That's hard to do it. And you can't change the color on it. Yes.
Comes a motion that we go ahead and spend up to $250 for lighting.
All in favor? Aye.
You made a motion and,
No,
sorry.
Oh, yeah.
1 second,
She's already reimbursed us.
2 seconds.
Oh, whatever, okay.
wait a second.
1 second.
All right.
She's still good on workman's comp. You have workman's comp.
Thanks, look good.
You have itch medicine. Yeah. All right, so now we have a whole series of we've been working on for several months now to find out what is gonna need to happen to restore our place. The AC and chiller, the compressor and maintenance. Before we start on the proposals, I did discover that line item for the chillers in our reserves. And so getting a line item put in.
Yeah, we sent them back the replacement proposal that, for right now, to, essentially, and then modifying the modified reserve state.
Okay, so that is underway. Thanks, Mark.
Yep.
And if you look under chillers in your packets,
They start with the straight black kind of picture on it.
where they're in. So, Karen, their quote is for a maintenance contract at $975 per visit. And M4, if I understand it right, what they sent us is a quote for $5,900 just for diagnostics, is that right?
Yeah, it didn't seem like there's a whole lot of work. Rams is very detailed.
And for Rand, they're here, repairing, they've been here many times repairing, so they don't have to do diagnostics, they're already. Equipment. So,
These two quotes are really going to remedy apples to apples.
But we should understand that this is a quarterly, this 910
Yeah.
is good. We agreed to make an inspection and filter changes, which will be accomplished quarterly. So we're looking at a built-in price of just under $4,000 a year. Just to have them there, take a quarterly and change the filter like that. Any additional expenses are going to be $550 an hour.
That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah, we budget for the album, but
$700 every quarter for them to go through the whole system for the fine tooth comb.
I think the labor would be included, but, yeah, they're machinery and everything. We buy the filters, we buy years worth at a time. This is what I'm talking. Filter, shipment, that's what it's on. Really, it kind of saves money. Not having to start the service.
That includes the filter. So I mean, you would have to pay to.
Correct, yeah, since they're here.
They're provided.
I don't think that's included in that. We're just buying them. But I'll check with them, but I don't think it's.
They're comprehensive. What is that to say? What do you choose not to put filters now? They can use personal quarterly,
No, they do it, I have them come out here,
but I mean, quarterly though?
yes,
Okay. And what do we pay for the supplemental charge for the cost of the filter?
they're about $275 for the year. There's a filter on each of them, there's 3 filters, so.
Yes. Do that.
It's about $200.
They charge us 200.
Yeah.
It's 200.
Yeah, for the year.
It's not a year.
200 for the certain company. We used to build in-house, prior to, years ago, prior to getting there. And, one time the mistake was made, and the wrong sequencing valve was done, and the water was cut off the pump, and overheated and goes down. So, back during the days of green, we started having them not taking the risk of that happening here.
Okay, I'm a little stumped. I don't know what I'm fine. Okay, do 75, three times, 7 filters.
3 times 4 times a year.
Do 75 times 3 times 4. Well, times 4.
No,
No.
my yearly supply of filters is about $275. So it's change out 3 at a time quarterly.
Okay. So it's total cost. It's 600, 750.
About a year, $275 for a 12 for the year, right?
Yes.
12 filters is $375.
I'm sorry. I do have to send them on by 4.
No.
Yeah.
It's multi-point inspection, right, lubrication.
So for an extra grand, they for
You know, it's not for a quarter, right? That great an extra rate.
For a year, so, obviously, there's not stepping on the dollars to pick up nickels. You just going with the extra money, because they're gonna do a comprehensive inspection like this, they record.
Yeah.
Mark's gonna watch and make sure the things are done, right?
Yeah, I'm off with the thing.
Yes, they were, so, yes.
They got a formal motion. I move that we go forward with this.
This price is talking about this, and it's still in the cost. So if they come to our apartment individually, the charge is 150, or visit?
No,
No, this contract is just taking care of the equipment. They can stay on top of the garages, or garage and fill garage. And the equipment that you don't do, that's in the chillers are on the roof, the compressors are down in the basement area, and the pump that pumps the chilled water to the units and the return water coming back are also in the two main shops. There's one pump in the south shop and two pumps in the north, one for the north building and one for the west building.
no, individual owners, that's nothing to do with it.
Yeah,
It's not
nothing.
conflict.
Yeah, nothing.
It's not chiller stuff.
We can't be on the head with Brian. Don't handle everything. It's a major job. They will not touch anything inside the building. That was the only way I could get them to come, because they did not want to work on pipes that are potentially 51 years old. But in the maintenance shops and the children on the roofs, they're absolutely fine. So this contract here, both contracts were for inside the shops and the children.
Will somebody like Castle Air, will he work on these other things?
Castle will not,
No.
oh, really, it really is a tough item in the department. I mean, the company that I ended up able to get to do maintenance in the units was Frank Gay. And they started out good, and they're just super expensive right now. I've seen some tickets on some work being done instead, so absolutely ridiculous. Changing out a thermostat for almost 500. So that's crazy, absolutely crazy. So, yeah, there's another gentleman that can do the work, but he's a one-man show. He does great work, but hard to get. If you've got an emergency kind of thing going on, getting on the schedule is kind of tough. I really don't have a third person in the company at the moment. But one of the things that we've done that's reasonable is one of the big problems is the infrastructure. And Sarah, in the 217, who does some handyman stuff around the building, and she does it when we need her to do stuff, when I authorize her to do stuff. She's on her clock, she's covered by workman's comp and everything. But she'll work for the unit owner to cure the drip problem. She'll flush out the lines. The lines go from the AC unit on the over bathroom down to the kitchen sink. And it drains into the drain line for the kitchen sink. So she blows them out, she runs bleach, she cleans the pan and all that. And she's a whole lot more reasonable than, let's say, um.
Who is that, Mark? Who is that you're talking about?
There.
Sarah, she's in her, she's 17, I've got her.
The doors down.
Yeah, I've got her cell phone numbers and she's generally pretty
She's
good.
pretty handy.
Yeah, 612 had a problem yesterday, he called me and I said, well, here's a number you can call her. At the end of the day, he said, she hasn't called me back. Well, she's a one-man show, I explained to her. But she did get back to him today and set up an appointment for 4:45 and went up and did it and he's already called me and said, hey, it's fixed. So, she's just a one-man show, so it depends on her list how fast she can get.
Does that pretty heat?
She does not do heat.
You don't have somebody that does heat, 'cause I don't have any problem getting in to fix our heat.
Well, that becomes, go back to Frank A.
I had never been out to look at my heat last year. For maybe 20 years. I said, "Hey, I swear."
There is only one guy that works with them, which is the reason why we started talking and working with them, that knows these systems backwards and forward. So if you call for a service call, one of the people call me first, and I tell them, Frank, but you have to ask for James, and James is in the commercial. So you ask them to schedule James to come over and look at your unit, because he knows what to do. You're not gonna pay somebody $300 to learn what to do. So when you do call them, you ask for the commercial department, and it's, James is the one that knows what he's doing.
And Mark, I had to get my thermostat replaced this weeks ago, I hope that number even on there was, you know, the HVAC one. And they said they don't use one of it.
Oh, really, what company was that? You remember?
No, it was just the one you have on there for, you know, look at it, you get back.
Yeah, you can have a there. Yeah, they could do a thermostat, yeah.
He's reasonable.
I think-
It's just.
Yeah.
Basically, it's all depends if you have that unit that has heat to it. Not all of them have the chiller, our units inside, not all of them have heat unless you replaced it with whoever brings, like when I replaced mine, I did mine through family. I knew somebody that worked for family. He got me the unit, but it did not have heat. Well, I'm only in one bedroom, so you don't need much heat. You know, we just buy the little Walmart heaters we plug in, put one in the bedroom, one in the living room type thing. We don't use the heat thing, so it didn't bother us. As far as the thermostat, I had an electrician put a thermostat in, which kicks on the air, you know, to whatever we have it set on. So my unit is a brand new unit. It's shut off. I put shut offs in over the bathroom. They have the valves. So I had Greens install it. That's before Greens got all pumpy with us and got upset because they're going to get sued or whatever. And they installed it, and it was a lot cheaper. My unit was a lot cheaper. It all depends if your units have heat on them. I mean, if they don't have the heat, because all it's doing is the heat is heating up the water coming through the coils. I mean, you have a fan that blows across there. It's 110. So you're just heating that water. It has to be coming from your hot water heater, I would assume. That's how they have it set up. I mean, we don't have heat set up. I mean, you can use that little blower thing. Ours works fine. It'll run down there, but you won't be able to afford that electric bill. I mean, once you run that little blower thing, that thing is big money. So, that's how mine set up. I don't know. I don't have any problems.
Before you vote on the contract, second contract, can I ask you a question about line item? On the page that says equipment list,
Yeah.
there's a line item that says $150 for dispatch. I'm just wondering if you can clarify what that is.
Does that mean if we, call them for a problem?
Rick, what?
It says equipment list. There's a page that says equipment list. It's after the list of maintenance.
Yeah.
Then there's a page that says equipment list. It has all the different chillers listed on there, and at the bottom it says contract amount. Contract amount $975 per inspection, and then it also says $150 for dispatch.
I don't know exactly what that means, so I'd have to find it.
Oh, there you go.
Well, yeah, but that's
So the next page, this page.
right. And then the other one back when they were talking about.
Okay.
It's out for inspection, and they're not trying to listen to it. You're ready for everything, electric, outside of the contract.
Mhm.
Is $150 an hour from the time of dispatch. So it's something that's outside the realm of what this contract is covering. So that's what.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Yeah, that makes sense.
So, dispatch is. They're coming. That's when you start there.
That's all.
Coming from Orlando. Give them an hour ride from there. They're coming out. On the support orange.
Nothing.
We didn't have our maintenance contracts. Our last meeting, we were discussing that. There's no maintenance on these, on the compressors at all. We have no maintenance going on at all. And we just think, and it's expensive to replace something like that. Very expensive. So we were thinking to get proactive and have preventative maintenance done. Just because we were having problems for a little bit there. But if we have a company come and inspect it, look things over, lubricate it, check the belts, fans, and we've been dealing with these people for a while anyway, right?
You get insurance on the chillers, don't we?
What would we have insurance for?
And there's one of the agreements that have lots of our equipment, one of my block covers for chillers.
In our insurance policy for, it's under the category of mechanical. And for big events that can happen, they could be covered under insurance. Have to look more on the definitions of it.
Is that like
Normally-
like a truck on a light in the storm then?
Yeah, if there's not, if, let's say there's a fire in the shop and it burns the compressors, so that would fall under a fire coverage and then mechanical coverage.
And our flood would cover it also, right?
Yeah, that's correct, that's what it's like, that was an issue. But for maintenance type issues, due to the insurance,
Yeah, not just for wear and tear, but by having maintenance on it, should extend over the units.
Yeah,
It's either you pay me now or pay me later. You're either gonna write a big check when it comes out, or you're gonna pay a little bit along the way and just keep it running.
and a lot of us found out this summer, when the chillers go out in the middle of summer, it's not bothering. So. Is any other discussion before we,
I propose that we go ahead and do the, maintenance contract through fair.
in favor? Aye.
that made the motion, John, seconded.
Go on walkway repairs. And
The first page on that is entitled construction into non-structural concrete repair. And let me make this addition to it.
Structural. okay.
Late this afternoon, I got a text from Glenn Canfield, Construction Services. You may have seen their signs up and down and again. Right now, they're working on one of the leaky buildings. They're doing the balconies over there. You see a big swing stage on the south side of the building. But Glenn was able to get a text over to me he was able to come over Monday, and he sent me over the numbers here today. And what he has proposed is on the very last page of the handout that we got, the single page. But what he proposed on the walkway repairs, the 24 areas on the walkways and the 3 areas in southeast stairwell was $9,600. I don't want you to think that he's a shady operator or anything, but that significantly less. I mean, they've been in business since 2005. They did work on a building where I was at that was just being sold, that they were going to redo balconies. Everywhere up and down the beach, hotels. He's a really good guy.
I have a question. Back in a previous meeting, I got some handwritten notes. I could barely read them. There was a laser study that we did for $800,
Yes,
but then the proposed cost for a complete repair, the full repair, was $95,000.
yes. That was the mountain rate, I think.
And this guy is gonna do this for $9,000?
No, we're not doing, I'm sorry, I didn't preface this correctly. My mistake. These 24 areas, there's 100 and think of the radar registry, I think that we identified like 124 places along the walkway.
Mhm.
What we are doing, what the proposal is, or the thought process is, it's certainly change, is these 24 areas are where you can actually see concrete lifting up, that the rebar is lifted up and popped up. An area is loose, I mean, instead of put on it now. But as far as all the other areas that there is no visual to seeing what's going on, that was documented by the study that was done with the chain and ball.
Right.
And then we did it with the laser. And the two were like, within 95%. The other green one, I don't think 5 areas. It's 124 issue. So it was pretty accurate, pretty darn accurate. What we think on the issues that we don't see anything, we believe part of that is the layer of the concrete, and on top of that has been a surface that gives it texture.
Right.
And we think part of that let's take care of what we see and get caught up on that. But they did not see what was prejudice, there is no deep open area underneath our walkway anyway. Everything else that was spotted on there that you could not visually see were definitely not deep areas.
So the fixes that they're proposing to do for $9,000, what was the previous Alan Green or whatever cost?
He-
For the thing.
I think your number was correct. The first proposal we did, and then we came back and just added the visual. We came in at 69, and KDK came in at 27.8.
69,000.
And that is just for the 24 visual. What I'm figuring is that whoever wins the bid on this walkway type situation, and if we do some discussion about the, whoever wins that, I'll have them do that. I know that, Glenn Canfield, contractor services, that could be like 2 days. One day to, and then simple forms. And then the next day, you guys are going to concrete. This idea is, well, let me describe it to be there. Between 212 and 214, between 312 and 314, there are 2 half cinder blocks at the bottom of the decks that have popped out. The rebar behind it. When we had, UES, who has structural engineers and that, looked at it and said there's nothing structural going on there. This was just the old fashioned rebar rusted and it popped out and it needs to be replaced. When they take those 2 pieces out, those 2 half blocks of cinder block, there is plenty of support from all of those cinder blocks underneath there. So there's nothing structural, they don't have to even run any supports, and be able to knock out the blocks. So, when Canfield wanted to do, not go back to the block, but actually pour concrete, make it all one piece. Young guys wanted to go back and and like I said, I think what I said,
I have a question here, on, there are areas when you walk around our walkway, when you look up at the, see it, it's like a ceiling above you, but it's actually the very bottom of the
Oh, yeah.
walkway above you. Are, I don't know how many of those that we have, but some are,
we'll walk that. I know exactly what you're saying, you know, there's probably 3 or 4. And again, I think the winning contract would be that for us on piecemeal.
okay. So we would add that on there too, but in
Yeah.
the meantime, what they quoted us is, $9,600.
Can we get like a schematic of the 24 different areas?
Yeah, I've got a chart, yeah, I've got it's a handmade chart that we made, and we made copies of that and highlighted the areas we want to fix versus the area that was shallow, yeah.
I'm just curious, like, I don't want to watch them do the work, I want to see how the sausage is made, but I do want to go back down and show you.
Absolutely, yeah, we made a chart when Alan Green did the work, and then when the radar laser guys came, we amended that chart. And, so yes, I got,
That's a 1-pager, can you put that?
no, so that's a 1 page per floor, 6 pages. But you're worth the paper. Yeah, we will do that.
And they also mentioned, expansion joints at $55 each, one on each floor. What is that?
The building, second phase was the west and the north. And between the 2 buildings, since they were poured at different times, obviously there's like a year difference in the plan. There's this, rubber type material that's in the concrete. The buildings are actually a little different levels. The west building, the continuation from the south, is a little bit taller than the south building, so it's a little bit difference in elevation. There are some gaps in them, and he pointed out to me, and I really wasn't thinking about it, but he said, you know, you're getting, Canfield said you're getting a point that you should be looking at and replace. And I said, well, price it separately, so that's where he came in, like they're, I believe, 55. What did you say on here? I'm sorry.
It says
Yeah, $55 per floor. That'd be 6 floors. There's no expansion joints on the 7th floor, because it's kind of open area. You can get out the 7. plan on that now. I mean, if whoever gets the one, I'm sure these other companies could do it if they wanted. I mean, these prices from Glen Canfield are untouchable.
Did one of these companies do the full work? The
No.
full, did either one of these companies, are they the one that did the work at full?
Yeah, Allen Green Construction.
Is it already coming through again?
Yeah,
Yes, it is, and we are not choosing Allen Green.
Like, maybe we should, whatever we don't do is what I have to do with, like, one of the portions first, to make sure they get it done right. Maybe we're going to give them, you know, 10, 27,000 to do it all. You know what I mean? We go ahead and do it, then just comes through again.
I certainly understand the frustration. Because I'm frustrated too. When he first came out to look at this, that, if you can remember the area that we did, that was, where the concrete was cut out, was like immediately behind the area where the handrail is coming out of the pool. This area was outside of that first cut of the concrete. It's about 1 foot outside of where this happened. So it's in an area that he did not touch. But what is frustrating is that, so he worked on it and cut it out, said he'll take care of it, and then within a short period of time, likes the same thing as it. There's good rust coming through it. It wasn't part of the original, it was an add-on, but the work done as the add-on is not. Yeah. True statement. So I understand the frustration.
So we can eliminate Allen Green for estimates. Sorry, but I'm going to.
I've asked them to come down and look at what has happened to this repair.
This one, the third repair is coming through again also? You know what you're saying?
Now, it's been twice.
It's been here 3 times. The first 2 times it came back. He did it in July, it came back in August. He did it again in September, came back in October. He came back and did it for the 3rd time in November. And you're saying that's coming back already or no?
I know there's been multiple visits, but I think that. I think he's only worked on this newest area once. And it just wasn't done right. I know he came back multiple times.
I have a picture of the original, so I don't know
I
that.
make a proposal, we go with Glen Canfield here.
Thank
He's
you.
right across the street, right at the Legion Tower, he's sitting on the beach.
A second.
Of the 96, you're talking about the 40,
Yeah.
24.
With the understanding that, but when we add in the,
And after, yeah.
the others, it will be, there will be more, but this is the base contract.
There.
That's okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So John made the motion. Scott seconded.
We were about to get on there. All right, so we ready? Yeah. And the parking lot. Starting with the all asphalt surfaces. So this is interesting, we have 2 proposals that are exactly the same. And they, both of them include crack fill. This one on the first page, all asphalt services for 8,250. There's no crack fill in that, that's just,
That's a squeegee thing.
yeah.
Well, so the squeegee first coat, fill coat, add 2,000 to their bid. See where it says option 2,080, so you'd have to add 2,080 to that. You want it into the crack fill basically.
Yeah, the other 2 coats are spray on,
Yeah.
that thing, and then
It's very,
trilogy on that. But it's not that fill, it's just a different line environment. That is all.
next one.
Just around
Just a little background, all asphalt, we go on the land. I called through his jobs and they were satisfied. Didn't have to say anything is wrong about how he does things. But he was not a fan of crack fill. Some people really like it. It's just a matter of opinion. The alternative to the parking lot the last time, I think it was, that's it, and he does swear by crack fill. As you walk the parking lot and look at some of the wider cracks, they did have this rubber substance in the crack that's still there. That prevents water from getting in and additional vacuum. So he's been in business in Daytona Beach and Beach Path for probably 15 years.
So,
Yes, he just kind of, he did it in rough terms, and he says the crack is pretty good. When we were looking for a third party, wasn't having much luck at that, but how did we stumble on Henry City to this kind of?
He has a contract with,
Yes.
yeah, and he does, parking lots and pavements for them all over the whole country, so. I asked him and Mark showed him what we have and talked to him, and, so this blown away, I guess, is, from Henry.
it looks like Henry's dealing with a much higher quality of crack. Because of this crack is quite the deal.
That's a lot of coverage.
Gotta do a lot better.
The company that Henry mentioned is not local, but I don't think that should scare us in any way. We're going down for basically a job, you have parking. And if you go over and do the second half, second day, we do the temporary parking during this shifting and parking. That we would do. Henry's a very upfront guy. Any dealings I've had with him, he's really good.
He's invested here, he's.
Yeah, he's got two.
Over here.
Yeah, he's got 2 units here. He's down here like maybe once a month or every 2 months.
Talk locally.
Selling the 1 unit. And then just moved the operation up to the 3-bedroom. 2 bedroom. But the guys that he brought down, all that stuff. So I don't see any real differences in the alternative. And, I think they will do that.
Go back and negotiate with that. Yeah, I mean, you do negotiate contract. Well, the board is still the same, it's been like every other, track and feature. The board is still the same, brother.
Yeah.
You're like the queen of thing, I guess. If you look at the crack. Yes.
I'm making motion to go with, Henry. Yeah, blow it away.
I'll second.
So, John made a motion. Bellair seconded.
All in favor? Aye. Yeah.
I did go the first one to do this before you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alright. Yeah, like it's a lot of fun.
It's a full color, yeah, the big one.
Yeah, now the big one. Making progress though, we're doing good. Elevator town.
Yeah, that is famous, she's bring that.
And the time is.
Awesome.
Are we going?
Yeah.
Well,
We're not spending no money, we shouldn't pursue it with the attorney. Before we decide to spend any money.
I agree. So there's, Mark, have an update for us on this.
Or do you have anything on,
Yeah, give me just a second.
where's one thing?
We're like, we're business. We're taking.
I wanted to ask you again about, has potentially thought about trying to negotiate with the roofing company or their, with Rodney or with the,
I want to talk again at the point in time where he had him come back, what he promised. Was having the guy come within 2 weeks.
Mhm.
And then after that, I said I wanted to have the job completed by the end of October.
mhm.
And then I wanted to go and talk to him about that. The attorney, one of the attorney, take the call for the final meeting. And that was because we were waiting for this other, he wanted to have, wouldn't she want an architect or that's, Mark, what was it that Holly wanted to have, from the professional and for legal purposes?
Sure, go ahead. In construction, there are people who are called PEs, professional engineers. They generally have schooling in either structural or mechanical or things of that nature. And then there are the trade of architects. And the definition of an architect is unlike a structural engineer that they can design buildings, they know how things work. When it comes to issues in a building like leaks or water running issues, hot water issues with that, it's generally the AI, the architectural person who takes care of that. So structural engineer guy with UES who did our Millennium inspection indicated that he's not qualified to look at these cracks and say what caused them. He says our trade does not get into them. Our trade gets into analyzing cracks and what's causing it. And those issues is an architect engineer. The architect, not engineer, the architect. So that's what we have done. We've had them look at the building. To make a long story short here, our claim is that did the crowbars, which is the way you would have done the same thing. But when they used the crowbars in whatever ways, it seemed to put pressure on the edges, the outside corners of each of the three stairwells. The worst one is in the north building on the east side, the northeast corner. Since the roof went in, the only spot that we've had a leak that's attributable to the roof is in the 7th and 6th floors of the north building. It's almost like a waterfall when you get direct rain coming out of the northeast. And it turns into quite a bit of water. There's also a smaller leak on the southwest corner that drips down into the storeroom on 7, then it makes its way outside of the storeroom on 6 onto the tile on the 6th floor for the elevator landing, where we all are. So the contention is this: we say that the damages were done by AWS, and the reasons why we say it was done by AWS is twofold. And one is we never had water coming down in the north building on the 7th floor. This is all brand new. Am I saying that correctly? Yeah, it's all brand new. So it's happened after the roof started. The second thing, evidence that we have is a photo that was taken by Wayne when he was looking at a property across the street of the towers. And yeah, and the picture shows workmen on the north building on the main roof. On the main roof, it goes across.
No, actually, I don't show workmen on this one. That's what I put on that building. I just want to correct you. But
Sure,
I
please do.
have workmen on the south building. It's different building.
Oh, okay, okay.
On the north building where the big hole is on Sunday, November 10th, 2024, at 1:19 in the afternoon. Thank goodness for the iPhone. I took a picture of our community from across the street. And this is where the hole is. And this is November 10th, and there is no hole in the tower. And they came with crowbars to remove the cap on the elevator shaft. In order to get that up, they put the crowbar underneath and then they pry it up. So they're lifting it and they're doing like a cantilever against the concrete. In the process of doing that, they break. I mean, some things are weaker in certain areas, depending on how you hit it, how you angle it. They're saying, no, the hole was there. We said, no, it wasn't. We got this. Well, then it was an act of God. Well, God hit all 3 elevator shafts because all 3 of them didn't have holes before, and they all do now.
It's cracks.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that means that's either God is a really good aim, or these guys actually did this, and I'm gonna blame this on AWS. So, that's where we are at this point. It's-
Before we did final payment, did nobody do it?
Well, that guy who did the final inspection. My question, what was interesting is that when they finally put the caps back on, the new roofs on, because remember the one in this building was blown off into the parking lot. And we luckily missed all the cars, but they had a temporary up there. But when they put it back on and they have the cap with the edging around, they had to drop it down, and that edging goes around the outside because the hole that they have in their tower over on the north side, the concrete is missing from under there. It starts at the top of the concrete and goes down about a foot or more. So the point is, you have 3 guys or 3 towers, 3 roofs, a whole bunch of people working on them, same problem on all 3 towers. I gotta tell you, you don't need a PhD in architectural engineering to figure out how. They said that it wasn't their fault.
Yeah, so,
And
But they didn't do it right at the beginning.
that's why we asked the attorney, because I wanted to go and sit down with him and talk to him about it and discuss. How come you were gonna do this within 2 weeks, you're gonna have your inspector here, which they didn't? And how come you told me when I said we could get this fixed by the end of the month of October, because we still have one more month of hurricane season, when we don't wanna have to sit through that, and I said, that can be done. And none of it got done. I wanted to pursue him immediately, but the attorney was asking me to hold off until we got whatever type of sign off she wanted. And then she'd say, okay, you go do that, and then if that doesn't work out for conversation, we'll pursue that.
AWS did send a paint waterproof contractor out, and we showed him the damages and everything. And we reported back to AWS. We have not heard anything back on it.
If they
And-
wait for the contract.
Well, they're saying that he was sent here to determine what caused this painting waterproof contract. I don't think he was gonna be the guy fixing
They don't know
it.
what he said.
No, we don't. So they filed a report to AWS. They've asked for ours, and we decided not to give it to them last time.
listen, we can beat this like a dead horse, but I so move that we go ahead and send a letter from the attorney to start a lawsuit. Demand for, payment.
Is she got what she wants? Is she get the inspection that she wants there?
Inspector would not send, an engineer either. Our inspector said that what we really need is the architect, and they sent an architect. But
Is there another engineer that can come out to satisfy what the attorney wants?
We've had a couple emails and had discussion. And I even put UES on the phone with Hollow, explaining their credentials and why that he is the right guy, not an engineer person. And after them being on the phone for like 10 minutes, Holly said, well, if this is the best guy, then this is the best guy, and we'll use him. But she said, I've had other cases where we've had a structural person doing it. And she said, if that's what you want to do, you agree to that, and agree to what UES is saying, then I would certainly work the case.
Well, if she feels that she can work better with a structural engineer, let her refer to one of the ones that she's worked with before. We can do that. Let's have that.
Gotta move forward.
Let's get that one shot. Give it a shot. See, give us the one. Because we don't want to lose it.
Yeah.
We can do that.
What is Tom Stanley saying?
He thinks it's happened after.
So he's saying afterwards. Right.
And honestly, you can't, how could it possibly happen afterwards? Unless somebody literally went up with a sledgehammer from the roof and banged in the concrete.
Just saying it was lightning at first. Yeah, lightning instantly.
Like they would go back. $40,000 just fire for them.
you're right. We paid him $20,000, and in the discussions that we've had with him, he's not even hinted at agreeing with our point.
Right, so, and that was his friend, he's the one that said, suggested to go with that, that was his, his money.
Right.
So they'll have, I want to talk,
He's not taking the budget. We put him to work when we initially had, I think it was 9 quotes. And the 9 quotes were based upon all kind of different routes going on.
That's true.
What do you think, guys? Like, I worked with these guys before, I know them personally,
But honestly, he's worked with almost all of them, because he's been here for over 30 some odd years doing what he's doing. We hired him for, that's his career, so he's if he's been around that long, he's probably worked with all of them multiple times over the years. So it's not, I mean, I don't think anybody's like in anybody's pocket.
Yeah, I don't think there's,
Well, like I say, it's not a good look at it, we got our, you know, the kind of gonna start with that, regardless, but even if it was just.
well, I can agree with that, but you know, the first glance at that certainly does make it not look good. But knowing the process we went through, I mean, when there was 8 or 9 bids, we told them to rework the bids, this spec for the TPO, this spec for the, secondary roofing material that goes on the peel and stick, and the ISO board, those 3 main components. He spec'd that out, it had to be built at this big thing. So he sent that out to all the 9 people, said, this is the roof we want for these specs. And of that, 3 came back. And the pricing went from the 560,000, which was the lowest bid, which was produced by AWS. I forget where the second bid was, but I know the third bid was at $1 million. So, I think our process was good. I know at this point in time, it may look a little suspicious, but I really don't think so. But I think we got a good route. It's just, it is a dirty shame that this has happened and it's so hard to nail it down. What happened and why and where we're going to today.
Well, here's, you know, these are the marching orders. Contact the attorney tomorrow, please. Ask her to get in touch and or refer the architectural engineer that she has worked with, that she's comfortable with. He's gonna be a litigator. Just get that expert as a and tell us what he thinks. And he said, I can't tell you. And she's just gonna have to. Without going to court, because if we have to go to court, it's gonna wind up going to the next year.
Certainly, I will certainly tell you, we want your guy. You feel that strongly, then that's, the board think that's the most important thing. Absolutely.
The cost of the repair itself. Director, somewhere what, $45,000?
Yeah, but you're going on 45
Well, more than that potentially, because our, architect estimated 30,000 for the towers. And that doesn't include any of the, gutter work that AWS also left.
Well, they didn't do the roof. It's gonna come back and do that, though. And they didn't have to, you know, pay you. Without the roof being done correct. Well, see, it's on the gutters, at least everybody got people pointing fingers. We've got money invested in it, and we can't have a good roof.
Well,
That's the bottom line.
okay, I think you're 85% correct. You have a good roof. The roof is not leaking.
Yeah, it's leaking in my bedroom. It was leaking out onto the hallway and then they caulked it up, so it leaked in my bedroom.
Now, is it from the roof or do we have other water lines that are running in between?
Let me take this
Water
one.
lines out there.
Let me take this one.
It's sunroom.
We haven't had,
Water.
yeah,
We have no free.
we haven't had a chance to talk. We believe we know where the water is coming from. In unit 703, on the south slider, the installation of that south slider was wrong. When we went up there, we discovered that all of this rusty mess, which is leaked into your unit, it comes from underneath his sliding glass door that faces the south side. So that is not our responsibility. I have talked to the Kirk family, and they recommended 3 companies that could probably fix that, and that's what they're going to do. We are going to, on our responsibility, there's some cracks up there that maybe some water is getting through there. When Sunny is here on tomorrow, Thursday, we're gonna chisel out those cracks and then caulk them up. But that area is,
Look at the gutter between the roof and the concrete and gutter instead of putting flagging, and so it drains into the gutter, not onto the concrete. It comes down between the gutter and concrete, and then it makes the big bubbles out of paint under the. I mean, it's kind of see it as a walkway. And then ready for the repayment instead of fixing the problem. They keep doing a half-ass job of everything.
since,
That's the plan, huh?
since we got into this mess with the roofs atop the elevator towers, they have not been compliant in coming back and doing what they need to do on these things. We had reached an agreement with them that they'd be responsible for fixing any gutter issues on the new gutter that went up. And then issues with the old gutter that were not changed out. The only gutter that was changed out was gutter along the new roof. So areas like behind 701 and 702, there is some gutter behind those, but no new roof. There's no roof there. It's the wall for 701, 702. Same thing for 703, 4 and 5, and the same thing for 706 and 707. Those areas are old gutter, did not touch the roof, and we just left them up. There have been some issues with that. So when we were on a talking, conversing situation with AWS, we agreed they would pay for any issues with the new gutter, any separations. They were going to fix any issues where the new gutter met the old gutter, where there seemed to be some leak issues. But anything that is old gutter that is not against the roof line, that we'd be responsible for, and we agreed that we would pay for that on any of the old gutter. But since these issues have come up with the cracks in the elevator towers, they have not been responsible.
To the lawsuit, the things that they're supposed to fix that they. Absolutely.
Sure.
Better work, that was part of their contract.
Well, it's, yeah, I think everything should be in there.
We have to provide them the attorney, we have to provide the attorney with their original proposal or bid.
Yeah, so we're not there yet, but, we don't wanna pay, we've already paid, so we're gonna try to.
Well, we like, what are we doing? Are we paying to fix it? We fix it, what are we gonna do? We just going around and around and around.
I think what we're looking at is at the moment, it's literally like a Band-Aid for the time being. We want them to come back and do the complete job. And that's what we're gonna have to, we're gonna have to litigate it. I mean, that's just.
It took a long time. It's just gonna be, it's like more damage, you know what I mean? Long time to make it work out more damage.
Yes, I agree. We'll pursue it as well.
Do we know, like, with the damages to the elevator shaft, or like, if we just leave it for, let's say, 6 months? I mean, is that gonna hurt anything?
Depends on the weather.
Right, I mean, if we're out of rainy season, that way we're dry.
Yeah.
I mean, we're moving into this. Better to have it now while we're trying to pursue this.
Yeah, we pay all the money. With someone, and I can't really afford to pay all the money. We're sitting here without what we thought we were paying for.
Remember, they were the cheapest, and they were way far cheaper than the other companies that we were like, the other ones that got from the roof.
We did have to pay for these.
Then with the second and third bid, the next two bids were.
We paid for it.
Would have been done right. You would have able to. That works out.
Well, it wasn't that far, it was something we could have done before.
Was that Molly?
He saw them when he was here and we showed all the issues to him.
He meant before he signed off on the.
Earlier.
Before final payment was made, was not clear, but she was.
He was there for a while. And then I brought up stuff and he just thought. Obviously, the center was not working. And he goes, oh, we can get a free waterfall. But that was the fun. And we just kind of have nothing to do with it. So we took it seriously and we didn't follow that job. Nobody did it. If we signed off, shame on us. Without inspecting it, we signed off and paid them. The shame on us.
Really accepted. The problem with the flashing was they can't put flashing into poured concrete. You can't really put anything in poured concrete because it's stuck, it'll just come apart. So that's why the flashing.
They can look up, here's the concrete, here's the gutter in between it, it's this gutter. After the water gets from the roof into the gutter, well, they just take the gutter down, save a whole bunch of money.
Because realistically, when the place was built, like he's talking about, if you take a Tapcon screw that's used for concrete, you have a really good chance of just shattering the concrete, because we were looking to try to put gutters up on the top floor, so the guy below me doesn't have water comes down directly on him. And they came out and said, bottom line, we can't put Tapcon screws into this because it could literally burst the cement. It's not like a straw.
It's just like they had to build, they had to attach the roofing to that, usually two by four, now they use something else. You can slide the flashing into there and tie it down fast, so when you put the gutters in,
We discussed that, and the reason why we knew that was because of the opportunity for the wind tax, they took the whole roof back again, peel the roof back the way it did before. We didn't want to have the roof peeled back. That's why it was done that way.
Well, if you take all the gutters off, you're just gonna have the water pouring down until it stops raining.
Yeah, that's why. They don't have to save on maintenance or gutters.
Flashing, blowing it down. Into the gutter.
Yeah, the problem is,
If you have time tomorrow or Friday, I'd like to take you up to 703 and show you what this problem is. I'd be happy to do it.
I don't think Jimmy married one of you doors right at the edge of the, was kind of pretty sweat. I've never been up there for long, maybe years ago. But there it doesn't go all the way to the very edge of the roof. There's a walk around. It's like on the other end.
I'll put off, I'll show you.
Thanks, Mark.
I have a question, so you guys hear, like, what was on it before we got this new roof that we never had a problem, like, what was the, what kind of,
Situation to the gutters.
like, what was there before that?
There wasn't any.
No, the gutters have always leaked.
The thing is, the gutters.
They've always leaked.
Well, they should pay more, people more than the gutter.
No, the gutter, we're usually never pay. And we were really trying to blow them off, and they redid it about 6 years ago.
The gutters were attached to the roof. And gutters were attached to the roof.
Where they attach the roof to the concrete. Yeah, well, this time they started concrete, and they just nailed the,
Well, I've had,
make it flow again.
the answer is that to stop the dripping from coming above and having to run into the gutter is making sure that you can close it off. And the only way to do it is literally cotton roll.
Well, that's just a temporary fix. We'll get there every year done, because water is a universal. All the little water that come up out after, right, you go on and continue to be calling it.
Into the gutter. That's what the water drains into the gutter, right? And with this, they put flashing in because they have to attach the roof over here to concrete, right? With the flashing. You don't have any flashing up there to channel water into the gutter. It's a useless gutter.
Rick, why can't we glue flashing on to the roof into the?
The problem is the wind. You know, if we have a wind, if there's a flashing, that's the flashing. The flashing, all the flashing does anyways allows if the wind is blowing hard enough and the rain is coming, water comes up into the flashing anyways. It does. So,
Well, so we have an action plan for tonight is, to ask Holly to refer her engineer to us. And then, ASAP, yeah, thank you. And that's really,
That's on the program.
I'm sorry?
What was in there, that's on the program for there? No.
No, it's,
As in,
there's not.
we think it's a separate problem, which will go up tomorrow and.
Then it goes on the roof, you know.
Absolutely.
Alright,
So
so,
tomorrow day, we'll go up and take it up.
thanks. So we have three other quick things I want to talk about here. One was the proposal for the gate on the courtyard side of 112. We got a petition, it's like an informal petition signed by, I don't know, probably 15 or 20 here, that they would rather not have that. Yeah, they wanted a private gate to come out so that they could have their own entrance into that courtyard. And it seems like, and we didn't want to make a decision without putting it out to the owners to get opinions. And there was actually one person, he said he thought it would be a good idea for them. And then I don't remember how many people were on that petition.
Between 15 and 20 cents.
It was just an informal, I think it went hand in hand from probably one or two people who knew each other. And it had 15 to 20 names on it who did not want it. So since we asked for opinions and we got them.
It's a little left, though, right?
Yeah.
It's not the first gate, it should have been done at a board meeting. And
you can. But here, so but the first gate that we approved it was already on concrete. So all they did was take out the front fence, put in a gate, looks just like a fence. You can't tell any difference. And this one in the corner, there's about 20 or 10 feet or so of mature shrubbery that has to be pulled out and then a brand new walkway put in.
Which they would pay for.
Which they would pay for, yes. But,
But this is not going to be reported if they come out because legally they would have.
well, I'm so sure about that. But here's what I could see happening. Because if we allowed one change to the uniformity of the appearance of the courtyard, then where does that stop? What if somebody wants to paint their balcony railings red? Well, potentially that could be true, yeah. But it did pass because there was no, yeah.
wasn't during a board meeting or anything.
Yes, it was. It was.
Yeah, it was at the board, yeah.
Yeah.
But it has, in the board meeting.
Yeah.
I must have missed that one.
Because there was not, and we talked about, probably a couple of board meetings, because the issue of this, the structural changes and the issue of uniformity of how it looks were both discussed.
Yeah.
And we decided that we could go ahead and do that, but I don't know, if, anybody up here has anything.
The guy has some good points for the value to the downstairs properties where it would be handicap accessible to get to our courtyard. And if we made rules that would comply with same color and same width, I don't think I think it would make good appearance actually. And then the people also he was also saying that the people right now on the first floor to get to the pool actually have to go out to the parking lot and then
But there's a sidewalk out there. Nobody has to go into the, driveway.
I mean, I don't have a problem with it as long as it conforms with everything. The fence looks the same cosmetically. That's just my 2 cents.
We did cover ourselves, the job was permitted by the city of Daytona Beach, we came out and inspected it before it happened and after. We spoke to our insurance carrier, what things we would be concerned about with this gate situation. And, we went through a checklist of things that need to occur. It has to open inwards. This is speaking about children, it has to open in, has to be a child, lock on it. You have to pull at the very top of the gate. It's almost 4.5 feet above the gate. So it has to be pulled before the gate will open. It has to be, spring loaded to close.
You guys got me good. That's
Yeah.
perfect.
When you're talking about now, the number of
Yeah.
a latch to open.
Anytime you've got a,
Well, 4.5 feet above is gonna be considerable. That's the federal area.
well, it sticks out about, almost a foot, maybe 8 inches.
No,
Button pull,
the gate itself.
it's 42 inches.
Okay, so
The little lever thing.
The lever thing goes back.
the height of the gate would not change. It would all.
Well, that's the biggest thing is the little lever.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that.
Yeah.
Just the uniform, the size, you're not gonna have one gate coming out.
They actually used the old fence.
Yeah.
The railing they pulled out as we would be used for the gate. Yeah, so it conforms with.
I don't think the appearance of the courtyard goes, there's no conformity to the width of the hedges. If there's like, this is a chunk out of here and a chunk out of there, maybe there isn't any, maybe this one doesn't want to have a chunk out of the hedge. So you're gonna change the entire look of the courtyard by doing one and saying yes. Unless you do them all. Either do them all or not, and it'll all. Exactly.
At least just for the weekend while we're here.
I think of it, that it does need to be criteria, like, because it is gonna change the structure if they get approved, which is the other one in motion, so. Is unless they're gonna have concrete put in, it must be uniform.
You guys wanna make a motion? You're gonna make it not just 112.
How long do you
think
want
that's-
this?
I think you just gotta bring it up for a vote, go forward.
Okay, we probably decline because of we haven't said that. I make a motion that we say no because of the uniformity in the courtyard.
I second that motion.
One quick discussion. Anything in the condo docs that references it?
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think this was.
I didn't want us to make a motion, vote on it, pass it, and then find out that doesn't matter what you say, it says yeah, it's that condo doc, so I just wanted.
Okay, all in favor
Okay.
of the vote? Yeah. All right. Three, that's a,
Any opposed?
no. All right, so, the motion was made and seconded and approved that, we're going to, say no on the gate on unit 112.
Got it.
And also,
Do you wanna?
I thought we changing the condominium documents.
Yeah, leave that for the team.
Give it.
It comes up again, I just say no.
The table.
all right. And another thing that I'm gonna bring it up. The pool, the filters in the pool. Anybody got that?
I think I sent out an email about
Filters for the pool are in, rough shape. They, need to be cleaned or replaced or replaced. And Mark got a quote from our pool guy, who's a very good pool guy. For it was roughly around $1,000, wasn't
for sure.
it? And, yes, all the filters in the pump house. So,
It's a good system filter with heat power. Tank, balance tank,
Right.
that's the same water level of the pool inside the pump. And then there's built up little pool, PVC pipe with holes in it that have these discs. There's about 23 of them run vertically across this whole big pool of water that's in the pump room. And they all have very small openings on them that the water passes through. The pump sucks the water through these filters and then returns it to the pool. To make it even better, you put what's called nitrous or baby powder on them to make them catch even finer materials. Filtering the water in the pool. You have to, what we call backwash them about every 3 to 4 weeks. Ours probably go a little bit longer because there's such little traffic in the pool.
So how old are those filters?
Bobby guessed it's about 12 years.
I've been promoted because. That's the day I bought. The day I sold that house with that much full.
the way to take care of the rough spots that are inside the lip,
Yeah.
under the water level. So, and
And
there's,
in the gutter.
Is there anything else you don't want to bring up?
Yeah, under new business, you have, the rental percentages, and that's a item we already found out about. think we're just getting into the thing that needs to be taken off and table.
Well, we can't do
I-
anything about it,
Yeah,
right?
because you have to,
We have to, I mean, we could talk about it. Well, things of that nature. How many rentals do we have? And the idea is rentals at 25%. Well, right now, our rentals are at 26.5%. We have 34 rentals at 128 units. So we're just over 25%. It's something that we can discuss, we'll bring it up next week. And change to documents. So we would have to send out a notification to everybody. And they would have to vote on it. We'd have to get a certain percentage of people to vote on it. Now, what I found out today that I did not know is that you can't make it apply to people that already live here. That's the deal.
Grandfather.
Grandfathered in, so we're still 26%. We're still at 26% right now. However, anybody going forward, so that if all of a sudden, you know, you wanted to buy 5 units to make rentals out of them, you're not going to be able to do that. I mean, that was my thought, and to keep this a community of those of us who live here, rather than turning it into a rental park. Because we've had a couple of issues with a couple of renters, and we don't need that. So, if I sold my unit and you bought my unit, you can't. You live here, you own it. You can rent it. Yeah, right. You would not be able to, no, I take that back. You would be able to rent it when the amount of rentals drops below the 25. Appreciate your value?
That's the other one.
Well, actually, I think it works the other way around, that people don't want to necessarily, if somebody's buying it because they have a bunch of rentals, and that's their thing, that's their job. Yeah, but that's not what we want. We don't want.
If you were to sell your unit, you're not going to decrease it by the unit.
Yeah,
You already have a buyer cannot rent for a year after they purchase.
and then
The banks at 20.
yeah, and then
The banks would not give a mortgage. If somebody would agree at 25%. Somebody 45, some as low as 25 would not give a mortgage if there's more than 45% rental.
In the bylaw, that would be good problem, you know what I
we
mean?
have to change it.
But that would harder to and nobody's willing to give you a loan.
Yeah.
Nobody's willing to give a mortgage, even too many rentals out there.
When you want this video, even if you live here.
Bingo.
Really have, you know, it's because we have people right now where I'm not a family. It's coming in here and they're being rented out. But, you know, this is now, I'll tell you, the condominiums that people own, live.
So this is the straight of the Daytona Beach. Like, it's not a lot of, I'm the straight of Daytona Beach. Rent it, you might have to, you know. It's not gonna community that you can.
They got signs.
But I think what we do keep a track of mind is people that are not going to be people.
Well, yeah, and part of the rules are that if they don't abide by that, we can charge them $100,
Incidents per day, right?
$100 a day, up to, I think it's only up to $1,000 maximum. If they,
Well, it hasn't, but we need to enforce it. We're gonna have to.
Okay, that's what we need to do.
Okay.
We need to-
We need to become condo commandos. The other thing too is, when somebody's coming to buy here, they have to go before the board. And the property manager get approved. I know we did, and you did. When it comes to rentals, people just say, I got, my place is rented, so-and-so's coming next week, him and his wife and 2 kids are coming next week, and they're gonna be staying for a couple of weeks, it's my cousin. We should have the ability to scan, vet renters too. I mean,
For sure, it's for,
just to get it.
you can get home with the law, right? Every natural, they're gonna be here for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, you know, anything, like, content, what they made in here, 2 weeks.
For the next thing over here is visitor, like, we do have a visitor,
Simon?
thing, but. Yeah, and then for a visitor sign in, I don't mean like, is this, yeah, one of the vendors, there's one in each lobby actually, for a visitor sign in, but I don't think. I don't even know what's real, I don't really like, if you walk through the towers across the street, they have one entrance, and then right there, a book. Says all visitors must sign in and then sign out.
I don't think we have people that police.
You can come,
Except for who wants to go to the. Yeah. And.
Well,
You have the camera.
If you have, I know, I religiously go out and give the parking tag to anybody that comes, just comes to see us. So that we can tell our friends over the weekend, you know, and at least that way you know what unit that car is tied to, and you know there's a visitor. Oh,
Yeah. I've even seen people that come, park in our parking lot and
Go to-
walk somewhere else. Like they don't live here and they're just parking, you know,
So maybe we have to monitor, because you guys are gonna pass for 5 minutes, and they. So we're gonna, they don't want to go over you, we don't want to, you know, they just. And they're. Yeah, like, the first thing they can do is get a committee that are doing, people that are doing these things, and we don't have any of that.
Well, we could have a property manager and a board member be the people who vet the people coming in.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's who was doing it when we bought the place, went out to do the same thing for the renters. Because renters are gonna be your neighbor at least for a year. Well, you just got bad neighbors.
Real estate agents are allowed to walk in and walk out the gate. Because
They have a
on
list.
Saturday, there was a guy came in the gate and was standing lingering by the gate. Inside. And I said, can I help you? He asked me if he can help me. I don't know the guy. He asked me if he can help me.
But he was a real estate agent.
Afterwards, I get to realize he was waiting on 3 people to come inside to show them something. He didn't tell me that we did. I realized he was a real estate agent when people came with him and he was able to show them.
Somebody standing in the gate and they don't answer your question, call Scott. So he's our market.
There's a lot of people that stand, because I'm right below, I'm right above the gate, so like I can see everybody coming in and out, and there's a lot of people that try to get in there that probably should not be. And that's a lot of times. You know, and like on somebody. You know, and you want to and be trying to break in my doors. Somebody trying to break in my doors. called police, you know, about 6 months ago, and
In the front or behind the gate?
I was like,
In the front. We have cameras too, though, don't we?
Yeah.
Security out there.
Yeah.
If you ever see that again, or you find the next morning that it happened, something happened the night before, let us know, because we've actually,
well, these are people I called, like, I called the person working on it, because I pulled up when they were trying to break into my daughter's house.
When was this?
It was a while back. They caught the guy and they vandalized from our property and they him, he was a kid, he was very aggressive about it because I was yelling at him, you know. And then he said he was coming back. But I mean, the police handled it and they, you know, banned him and everything, which I don't know what that does, but.
look, I had 4 kids come in while I was here, and I kind of smoking joints, and that's the joint on the floor. When they were leaving, and they're standing in the hallway waiting for the elevator, and the one kid turns to the other kid and says, "Oh shit, don't look up, he's got a camera." And they all turned and looked up. And that's how we got them from the high school. So, you know, it's like the police thing with Crime Stoppers. If you see something, say something. Seriously.
Yeah.
We're gonna police that ask for video or, you know. And we have always provided, I mean, I've got Kevin on call if I need him to download images from our system, from the 21 cameras that we have. When 110's car got broken into, we filmed it about 6 hours of video. We had an incident a month ago where we had somebody see the video, 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock, early Friday evening, and then put it off cameras and videos on. So we're pretty in tune to whatever Daytona PD wants. If it exists, we will get it.
The rental percentages, we're going to,
What we're gonna have to do is I'm gonna propose a motion for another time to cap it. I mean, if there's any objection to it, you know, but I think next year we should start out with a suggestion box in each lobby. No, I'm serious. Well, yeah, I know that you give me some really nice comments, but the thing is, you know, I'm just telling you, some of you will be in favor of it, some of you won't be in favor of it. Right. Yeah. Yes.
Everybody else right now, tell that, I mean, even people buying, I mean, till we change the documents or, yeah.
Anybody who buys between now and the time it becomes the rule, because passing the board and passing the membership acceptance. And if it doesn't, we don't get enough votes, it doesn't happen, but then, you know, once again, one out of.
There's a rule that's
There isn't no rule. There's no rule on the attachments.
That's why I wanted to make post that. I want to propose.
And you have to own it for a year before you can rent. That's all that you have to.
Every unit is owned, but 25% of them, 34 out of 120 units. 34 people are renting their units out. No, we don't have a rule. I'm trying to keep it so it doesn't get to be more than that. I mean, you know, if all of a sudden you have 50 or 75% rentals, it's not gonna look the same. You're not gonna have people wanting to do the lights like that and having care for it and whatever else we try to do.
When the market crashed, I think you had a lot more. 2008, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think you probably had 50% rentals this year in here.
And it could happen in.
That's why the 1 year was brought up. Because of having so many rental units at that time. Yeah, that's why it was brought up for a year, own it for a year. That was cutting it back, so you did have that cutback from what it was. You could fill your condo, so people were renting out.
We just don't want this to turn into.
Airbnb.
So I know some condos that, rent, rent out and the people move and they just don't find renters anymore. They're gonna stay and that's maybe something percent or whatever you decide, or they tend to, you think about maybe, if they don't have an active renter after 12 months, they're not gonna be able to get that 25 occupancy marks and move in.
I think that's a great idea, but the law, 718, the state statutes have, rules regarding that if you are already in there and you change the rule, in other words, you own it now and you change the rule, you can't make it affect somebody who already owns the place. Every one of us in this room right now has all the rights forever and ever and ever.
When, like, for new people, like.
Well, it'll all be applicable to new people only, so that nobody can.
I'll talk on later, but then, not, we have such nice, we're on the control.
Just put this, and we'll take a look at it and see. Anything else you want to tell us?
Just, we need a date for the next meeting. That's all. What is it?
What's the annual meeting?
January 1st or January 21st.
We want to do a meeting in January, or you think it's the city?
We had to have a budget done in December to start February first.
Want to have a budget. We need to have a meeting in December, that would be a budget.
Yeah, we need to do some budget meetings. Have to conclude by January 31st.
Well,
Maybe
do
working.
budget meeting,
It'd have to be 14 days.
so we can do it December budget meeting. Right. And you can also. You can approve budgets at the end of the year.
No, budget has to be passed by the last day of December.
Two meetings, before we have to decide.
You need a date for- You need on 14th. You can date on 14th and on the 9th.
And 10th. The 3rd and 10th are Wednesdays.
German people.
Adjourn the meeting, not the dates, and let everybody know, and we'll post them so everybody. Adjourn.
Pretty good.
Maybe we don't.
Most of the time, I mean, we live with all the.
Yeah. Yes, I.